It was supposed to be just dinner. Steak, mashed potatoes, soft jazz humming from the Bluetooth speaker in the corner of the room. I'd spent the afternoon making it not because I had to, but because I wanted to. For him. Liam. 17. My son, or at least that's what I used to believe. He barely looked up from his plate. His phone buzzed twice. He didn't reach for it. That was new. "Thanks for the food," I said lightly, trying to break the silence. He didn't respond. Then, with no warning, no tone, no emotion, he set down his fork and looked at me. "You're not my real father." I blinked. "Sorry?" He stared straight into me. "Mom's boyfriend is better than you'll ever be." Time froze. No breath. No blood. Just a ringing in my ears and the sound of something ancient cracking inside my chest. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't flinch. I just nodded. "Okay." He went back to eating like he hadn't just shattered 17 years of memory with one line. I didn't say another word that night. At 3:12 a.m., I sat at my desk with a legal pad, laptop open, coffee going cold. I made a list. Every single thing. His $3,200 per month private school tuition. The car I bought him on his 16th birthday. His phone plan. The insurance. The therapy sessions I paid for when his mom ghosted him. The college prep courses. The PlayStation. His AirPods. The custom sneakers. The groceries. I tallied it. Over $300,000 spent across 17 years. And that was just what I could count. Love isn't measured in money. But betrayal? Betrayal always leaves a receipt. By 4 a.m., I'd canceled everything. I called the school first. Left a polite voicemail. "Effective immediately, please remove Liam Reed from enrollment. Tuition support has ended." Then I logged into the dealership account and started the paperwork to sell his car. I canceled the insurance, revoked his debit card, killed the Netflix profile, paused the college counselor. I stared at his name in my phone, Liam Redhart, and changed the contact label to simply Liam. The next morning, he came downstairs, keys in hand. "Where's my car?" I looked up from my coffee. "Sold it. It was in my name." His jaw tightened. "You're serious? You said I wasn't your real father. Why would I keep pretending to be?" He stood there like a stranger, a million words trapped behind a mouth that had already spoken, the only one that mattered. He stormed out, slammed the door so hard the hallway picture tilted. I didn't fix it. I just let it hang sideways, like the truth that had been hanging in my heart for too long. My name is David Reed. And from wherever you're watching this, stay with me. Because when the boy I raised told me I was nothing, I finally believed him and showed him what nothing looks like when it walks away. I met Liam when he was just 2 years old. Big eyes. Chubby fingers. A quiet, watchful little boy clinging to his mother's leg like the world outside her shadow wasn't safe. Samantha, his mother, was beautiful. Sharp. The kind of woman who could sell you a dream while quietly pocketing your soul. We weren't a whirlwind romance. We were slow burn. Coffee dates, playground weekends, evenings where I stayed late after tucking Liam in just to listen to her vent about her ex. "He left us," she said. "Liam doesn't even remember him. You're more of a father already than he ever was." That sentence? It hooked me. I didn't want to replace anyone. I just wanted to show this boy that someone could stay. So I did. I taught him how to ride a bike, sat with him when he had nightmares, held his hand during doctor's visits. He called me Dad by the time he was 4. It wasn't forced. It wasn't coached. It just came out one day while I tied his shoelaces and told him he was brave. I married Samantha when Liam was 6. She wore white. He wore a tiny gray suit. We were a family. Or so I thought. The cracks showed slowly. Samantha liked control, liked attention, and most of all, liked credit. Any time Liam did well in school, she said, "He gets that from me." Any time he messed up, it was, "You need to talk to your son." When he turned 10 and asked about his biological dad, Samantha told him, "He didn't care about us." Then she smiled at me in the kitchen like it was a victory. But over time, she started pulling Liam emotionally closer and pushing me away. She took him on mother-son trips I wasn't invited to. Started planting seeds. "Don't tell David about this. He wouldn't understand." He's not your real dad, you know. I ignored it for years. Told myself he'll see the truth. He'll remember who was there. I tried to counter it with consistency. Soccer practice. Science fair nights. The late-night ice cream runs after his first heartbreak. But Samantha was relentless in her rewrites. After the divorce, things got worse. Shared custody became optional when Liam refused to come some weekends. I didn't fight it, I didn't want to drag him through the courts. But I still paid. Still showed up. Still loved. And even when he grew distant, I held on. Because I thought love was enough. But love without boundaries becomes debt. And eventually I ran out of credit. That's why when Liam looked me in the face and said, "You're not my real dad," it didn't just hurt. It confirmed what Samantha had been whispering for years. She'd succeeded. She made him forget who stayed, who sacrificed, who never once called him half of anything. But now, she could have him. Because being a real father doesn't mean staying where you're unwanted. It means knowing when to let go. The first time I noticed Liam starting to shift wasn't during a fight. It was during a hug. He stiffened. I was dropping him off after a weekend to my place. I bent down and opened my arms like I always did, and he just stood there. Awkward. Uncomfortable. He looked over at his mother, standing in the driveway with her arms folded, and a smirk so subtle it could have passed as nothing. But I knew that look. I knew exactly what it meant. Control. And from that moment on, everything changed. Liam started pulling back, inch by inch. At first, it was small. One-word texts. Canceling visits last minute. Forgetting to tell me about school events. Then came the bigger cracks. He stopped calling me Dad. Started saying David like it was some title I didn't earn. He showed up to my house with flashy sneakers I'd never buy and stories about how Mom's boyfriend takes me out to real restaurants. His mom, Samantha, had started dating a guy named Craig. She introduced him as someone serious and immediately inserted him into every aspect of Liam's life. And Liam, hungry for affirmation and easy praise, latched on. Craig didn't raise him, didn't stay up with him during the flu, or walk him through math problems, or hold him through panic attacks when he was 12. But Craig bought him things, told him what he wanted to hear. And Samantha? She fed that fire with gasoline. See how relaxed Liam is when he's not with David? Craig never pressures him the way you do. David's obsessed with control. He thinks money makes him a parent. I heard about it all from Liam's friends' parents. From mutual acquaintances. From the shadows. But I said nothing. I didn't want Liam caught in the middle. So I stayed silent. Paid the bills. Dropped off whatever he needed. Tried to be the stable one while his mother turned parenting into a popularity contest. But stability isn't flashy. And when a kid is handed an easier story, one where the man who buys him Jordans is the hero and the man who taught him discipline is the villain, he believes it. At least for a while. So when Liam sat across from me that night and said, "You're not my real dad. Mom's boyfriend is better," he wasn't just rejecting me. He was quoting her. Word for word. Scripted. Designed. Weaponized. But what Samantha didn't realize was this. She hadn't just burned a bridge. She'd made sure Liam stood on it when it collapsed. And Craig? He was just playing dress-up as a father. Eventually, the mask would slip. And Liam would see what I always did. That love isn't measured by how loud you brag, but by how quietly you stay when no one's clapping. I looked at the boy I once carried through storms and realized she may have turned him against me. But I wasn't going to fight for space in a war she created. Because I wasn't the enemy. And I wasn't her puppet. There's a kind of peace that comes after you've been broken wide open, the kind where you finally understand that being unappreciated isn't just painful. It's unsustainable. That night, after Liam told me I wasn't his real father, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just walked into my home office, sat in front of the glowing screen, and opened a dozen tabs. One for each thing I'd been carrying for him, like invisible armor. The first one was his car. It was in my name. The insurance, too. Click. Listed for sale. The dealership picked it up in less than 18 hours. Second, his private school. I emailed the financial office. Effective immediately. Please suspend all tuition billing. I will not be continuing sponsorship. Third, phone plan. Removed him. Fourth, credit card for emergencies. Closed. 5th, college prep app subscription.
Gone.
6th, Spotify family plan. He'd have to pay for his own music now. I didn't even touch the rest. The PlayStation subscription, the weekly gas allowance, the personal tutor he'd begged for last semester. All gone. All mine to revoke. By sunrise, I had reduced his lifestyle from spoiled prince to exactly what he said he wanted. Not my son. It only took 72 hours for Samantha to come crashing in like a broken alarm clock that never stopped shrieking. She showed up to my house in a cheap suit and even cheaper perfume, holding her phone like a weapon. You sold his car? I didn't invite her in. I simply leaned against the doorway, calm. Yes. You can't do that. It's in my name. You stopped his tuition? Are you insane? I held up the same custody document we both signed years ago. I'm not legally obligated to pay for private school. It was something I did because I believed I was his father. She folded her arms. He's still your son, is he? I tilted my head. Because according to him, I'm not his real dad. And according to you, your boyfriend is better. So I figured I'd let the better man handle it. For once, she had no clever comeback. She stomped off, slamming her car door so hard the window rattled. But I wasn't done. I blocked Liam's access to my accounts, changed my Wi-Fi, removed him from any system he once used. I didn't post online. I didn't announce it to family. I didn't go on a revenge spree. I just disappeared from their version of the story. Because sometimes the loudest statement you can make is silence. On the 4th day, I got a notification. Samantha had filed an emergency custody modification, claiming I was financially abandoning Liam, emotionally negligent, and endangering his academic future. I stared at the document. It should have made me nervous. But instead, I laughed. Because she thought this was her trump card, the one that would destroy me. She didn't realize she was walking into a courtroom I'd been preparing for my entire life. The envelope came certified big, bold, and dramatic, just like Samantha.
Inside.
Court summons. Emergency petition. Allegations so laughable they could have been scripted by reality TV. David Reed has abruptly cut off financial support, risking the educational stability and emotional well-being of my son, Liam. This is abuse by neglect, intended to punish me and destabilize my household. She wasn't just coming for custody. She was coming for revenge. She wanted to paint me as a bitter ex using money to retaliate, a cruel man abandoning a child in need. It would have worked if I hadn't documented everything. I didn't just keep receipts. I had files. I opened my storage drive, neatly labeled Liam Financial and Custody Documentation. Years of payment logs, school emails, texts with both Liam and Samantha, tuition receipts, bank statements showing over $300,000 spent, screenshots of messages from Liam himself saying things like, I only come here so you'll keep paying for stuff. Mom says your money's the only good thing about you. And the audio clips? Oh, those were gold. I had voice memos from drop-offs, pickups, little gems where Samantha whispered things to Liam thinking I couldn't hear. Don't tell him you were with Craig. If he stops paying, we'll take him to court. He's too proud to let you suffer. Now, I wasn't just a father. I was a loaded weapon, armed with proof, silence, and a reputation she couldn't smear. I walked into court with a slim folder and a calm mind. She walked in with her lawyer, full lashes and crocodile tears. I just want what's best for Liam, she told the judge, voice trembling. David has become emotionally unavailable, financially manipulative. He's unstable. The judge looked at me. Mr. Reed, do you have a response? I opened the folder, laid it down, and calmly said, I've paid for Liam's life since he was 2. These are receipts from every year. His tuition, health insurance, transportation, and even college prep classes. Over $300,000. All without court order. All voluntarily. The judge flipped through the binder, brows furrowed. And this, I added, sliding forward a second file, contains screenshots of Liam's messages dismissing me, along with audio clips of Ms. Gray coaching him to lie and manipulate me for financial gain. I said it with no emotion. Because truth doesn't need theatrics. It just needs timing. Samantha's face strained. Her lawyer whispered furiously. The judge raised a hand. I've heard enough. Final ruling? Custody remained joint, but with Liam required to attend court-ordered therapy. Samantha was issued a warning for documented parental alienation. All financial extras from me were declared voluntary, not required. No back pay. No threats. No power. She'd played her final card, and I had flipped the entire deck. As I walked out of the courtroom, she followed me down the hall. You embarrassed me, she hissed. You made me look like a liar. I didn't stop walking. You didn't need my help for that, I said. You did that all by yourself. News spreads fast, especially in tight-knit communities with expensive schools and even more expensive gossip. Within 48 hours of the hearing, word got around. Samantha Gray tried to weaponize the courtroom and failed. Spectacularly. The headmaster of Liam's old private school called me personally. David, if you ever want to re-enroll Liam, we'd be honored to have him back. No judgment. We all know what really happened. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because this wasn't about saving face. It was about saving myself from a family I had funded while they fed on my silence. And now? The silence had ended. Liam stayed with Samantha. Not by legal order, by choice. But choice has consequences. Without my funding, they had to pull him from the elite private school and enroll him in the nearest public one, a campus he once called a dump, while laughing with his friends in designer sneakers I bought. The car? Still gone. He begged Samantha's boyfriend Craig to help get him a new one. Craig shrugged and said, You want a car? Get a job. That was his wake-up call. Craig wasn't a dad. He was a placeholder with a wallet thinner than his ego. The better man Liam had once compared me to now forgot to pick him up from school. Left him stranded. Missed his football games. Didn't care if he ate. For months, Liam didn't speak to me. Not a word. Until one day, out of nowhere, I got a message. Short. Unpolished. Hey. Can we talk? We met at a diner. Neutral ground. He looked older, not physically but emotionally. Tired. Embarrassed. Is it true? He asked. You really spent that much on me? I sipped my coffee. Every cent. And I would have kept going if you hadn't told me I didn't matter. He looked down. My mom said she told me things. I know what she told you. I interrupted. But the question is, what do you believe now? He was quiet for a long time. Then, I think I messed up. I didn't flinch. I didn't soften. You didn't just mess up. You repeated a lie until you believed it. And then you spit it in the face of the man who never walked away. He nodded slowly, his voice cracking. I'm sorry. It was the first real apology I'd heard in years. And it didn't come from Samantha. It came from the boy I raised, finally seeing through the fog. I don't need your money, he said quietly. I just want to know if we can start over. I looked him in the eyes. And saw me. The boy I once held in his first big boy bed, who cried when his mom left him at daycare. I saw a child who was finally old enough to face his own truth. We don't start over, I said gently. We move forward one step at a time. He left that night with no keys, no allowance, no promises. But for the first time, he left with accountability. And that was worth more than any car I ever bought him. I didn't roll out the red carpet. There was no dramatic reunion, no welcome home, son moment. That's not how healing works. Liam wanted to come back. So I let him visit. But the rules were different now. First visit, he sat on the couch awkwardly, scrolling his phone like he was testing the air. Second visit, I put him to work. Trash goes out Monday. Dishes by hand. No Wi-Fi until chores are done. He blinked. Seriously? I looked him dead in the eye. You said I wasn't your real dad. Now I'm treating you like a guest. If you want to be a son again, you earn that back. No yelling. No anger. Just firm, quiet boundaries, the kind I should have set years ago. Over time, he started showing up without being asked. He offered to mow the lawn, helped clean the garage, asked questions about my work. He even one night knocked on my office door, holding 2 cups of coffee. Black with 1 sugar, right? He asked. I nodded. He sat down across from me. I applied for a part-time job. I waited. I want to pay for my own phone. Eventually maybe help with gas when I get a car again. I didn't speak. Because in that moment, I was watching a boy who'd been handed everything finally reach for something himself. Then came the moment I'll never forget. We were watching a game. Quiet. No tension. Liam turned to me suddenly. I know you're not my biological dad. I didn't move. But you're the only one who ever stayed. The only one who ever gave a damn. I blinked slowly. The lump in my throat surprised me. He finished. And if you'll still have me, I'd like to be your son again. I paused, searching his face. Not for guilt, but for truth. And I saw it. This wasn't about money, or punishment, or broken cars. This was about a boy finally asking to rebuild something real. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, opened the drawer, pulled out a key, held it in my hand. It's not to a car, I said. It's to this house. My house. Which, if you want to earn it, can be your home again, too. He took the key carefully, like it was something sacred. Maybe it was. Because it didn't unlock a room. It unlocked forgiveness. Later that night, I called a friend, a therapist who specialized in fractured families. I think we're ready, I told her. Ready for what? She asked. To do the work. Not to fix the past, but to make sure we never go back there again. She booked us the first session for that weekend. Liam didn't complain. He showed up. And week after week, we sat in that room peeling back the damage. It hurt. It healed. It changed us. Because this time, it wasn't just about me fighting for him. It was about him choosing to fight too. Forgiveness isn't something you give away, like loose change. It's earned. And even then, it doesn't come with a reset button. It comes with boundaries. 6 months after the dinner where Liam said I wasn't his real dad, we sat across from each other on a crisp Saturday morning, sipping coffee in the kitchen. He was back. Not in the way he used to be. He no longer lived here full-time. But he visited. He called. He checked in without needing money or rescue. He came with presence, not pressure. And today, he looked ready to say something. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a letter. Folded. Handwritten. I want you to read this later, he said, sliding it across the table. I picked it up. But I didn't open it yet. Instead, I said what had been sitting in my chest for years. Do you know what forgiveness cost me? He looked up. Everything, I said. Every time I showed up while being ignored. Every dollar I gave when I was treated like a bank. Every insult I swallowed while trying to be a steady parent. His eyes dropped. I don't need another apology, Liam. I continued. I need to know you understand that forgiveness is a two-way street. You don't get to come back and pretend none of it happened. He nodded. Slowly. With tears forming. I don't want to erase it. I want to grow from it. That was the moment I knew he was ready. Not to be perfect, but to be honest. That afternoon, I finally opened the letter. His handwriting was messy, a little shaky, but the words were steady. You gave me a home before I knew what one looked like. You gave me values I ignored until life took everything away. You weren't perfect, but you were present. And that was more than any real dad ever gave me. I folded the letter gently, tucked it into my drawer, next to the custody papers, the receipts, and the car title I never signed over to Samantha, even when she begged, because keeping proof had once been about survival. Now, it was about remembering how far we'd come. Weeks later, Liam stood beside me in the garage. We'd just finished organizing the old boxes. He looked at my old car, the one he used to drive. Think I could earn that back someday? I looked at him, smirked. Earn it, huh? He laughed. Yeah. Not ask. Earn. I tossed him the keys. Start by changing the oil. His face lit up like a kid at Christmas. And for once, it wasn't about the car. It was about trust. And the fact that it was no longer automatic. It had to be rebuilt. Oiled. Maintained. Just like everything worth keeping. They say blood makes you family. But I know better now. Loyalty makes you family. Effort keeps you there. And love doesn't mean giving endlessly. It means knowing when to stop. And when someone's finally worth letting back in.